Welcome once again into Black and Gold Insider, the show where we get to know the members of the Black and Gold a little bit better, sprinkle in a few little interesting tidbits here and there. And we're very happy to welcome one of the newest members of LAFC, Ryan Raposo, joining us. Ryan, we're going to talk about this, continuing the incredible tradition of Canadian players. It's about 2 pages long now in LAFC. Welcome, and tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm from Hamilton, Ontario. It's actually quite a large city, an hour outside of Toronto. So when people ask me where I'm from, I say, yeah, it's just an hour outside Toronto because everyone knows Toronto. So yeah, I'm from Hamilton, Ontario. And yeah, that's where I grew up.
So you're a big Maple Leafs, Blue Jays guy, etc.?
Yeah, I don't have a hockey team, but as a kid, I liked the Red Wings, Detroit, because Detroit is actually kind of close to Hamilton as well, and I just liked one of the players on the team. So
I was going to say, if you don't have a hockey team, we'd have to end this. I mean, because I don't think we could publish this in Canada if you didn't have a hockey team. But Detroit Red Wings, it is.
Yeah.
Wait, is Hamilton? Is that where the bridge goes across to Detroit?
No, that's Windsor.
No. Windsor. Okay.
Yes.
And that's
Hamilton is close to like Niagara Falls, Buffalo, and yeah.
If I went to Hamilton, what would I need to do? What would I need to eat? What would you suggest if someone went to Hamilton?
That's a great question. You know what? Hamilton, and I've been all around the world, had different type of cuisines. I would say for like lunch spots and in Middle Eastern food, shawarma, for me, like the best shawarma I've ever had is in Hamilton. Like on every corner, you can find a great shawarma. So I would say shawarma.
Look at that. And a man who's well-traveled and a bit of a foodie, he's telling you.
I'm definitely a foodie.
Wow. What is your go-to food? What is your favorite? And have you, I'm going to double barrel this. What's the food that you put at the top? And have you experienced our Los Angeles fare yet?
Yeah, so the first day here, I'm actually living in Pasadena, which is a beautiful city. It's my vibe. It's more laid back, chill. I'm actually in Old Town, so cafes, restaurants. So that's my vibe. And the first day with my girlfriend, we went to a restaurant called Maestro's. It's like I think it was like Mexican cuisine. And I had birria tacos, which I've never had before. I've always just seen it online. And I had the birria tacos, and it was the best taco I've ever had. So it's unbelievable.
Well, we're just getting started. So girlfriend's out here with you? Any family members?
No, just my girlfriend's back and forth because she works remote from Toronto. So she's able to spend maybe a couple weeks at a time here and a couple weeks at a time back home. So
this is crazy, Ryan. I spoke to you 2 weeks ago, and I swear your Canadian accent was a lot thicker. It feels like you got a little Angelino in there now. Plus, very laid back. I feel like California vibing coming through.
Yeah. No, I'm a very chill, laid back guy off the field, at least. The guys have been, especially the younger guys, have been teaching me the LA slang because I went to school in upstate New York, so I learned, the New York slang, and I grew up in the Toronto area, so they have like a very prominent like slang, and now here in LA, so learning the lingo.
Listen, this is the way to do it for all the young players. You want to adjust to a new city, a new club. Follow Ryan's lead. Food, slang, you name it.
Yes, exactly.
We want to tell your story a little bit because I read an article on the CBC that a lot of people didn't think you would make it to this point. That you were released by the Toronto FC Academy at the age of 13. Correct me if I'm saying this wrong. For being, quote, too small, too skinny. Did you hear that feedback?
Yeah. But that's just the reality of it. I think at that time, maybe I wasn't as physically developed as the other kids. Because for those of you that know Toronto, there's a lot of talent in Toronto, and so it's a talent hotspot, I would say. But yeah, of course, I was gutted to be released by the club. I grew up obviously being from that area, like the biggest Toronto FC supporter, watched all their games. And then when I joined the academy, it was a dream come true. So yeah, getting released from my mom's memory, because she explains it to me that, I was gutted and I didn't want to play for a bit. And yeah, apparently it really affected me. But yeah, to my memory, I was super upset.
See, I didn't even think about that. You were 13. I go, what are you going to remember about this? But mom
Yeah.
remembered it. So that's
Yes,
important.
exactly. Yes.
Hey, we talk about the sacrifice about parents. Tell us about what they were able to do to obviously catalog that
Right.
information, keep you upright so that you can pursue this, whether you knew it or not at the time. How did they help you get back in the saddle? How important were the Raposo parents to getting you there?
Yeah, they were both super important. Obviously, both of them working full time. So as a kid, you don't really understand the sacrifice. And as you get older, you understand, what they were doing was crazy. Working a full time job. My mom would work night shifts at the hospital. Get home at 6 a.m., have my uniform, have breakfast ready for me, and I would just have to wake up and hop in the car and would be on our way to Toronto FC training. And yeah, she would kind of just drop me off, and she would sleep in the van while I was training in the Toronto facility. And I would finish, and I remember like knocking on the window multiple times, like trying to wake up my mom, and she was in such a deep sleep because she was exhausted from the night shift. So yeah, and so yeah, as a kid, you don't understand or really appreciate that to the extent. But yeah, now that I'm older and I'm working, it's like when I get home from training, like I couldn't imagine doing something like that and sacrificing so much of your life. And so yeah, so I have two older brothers, so she did that for myself and my brothers. So it's like I said it in the media 2 weeks ago, when the anthems are playing, like those are the things that actual moment is the moment that I remember, and that's the moment that it doesn't matter how tired or whatever I'm feeling in the moment, that kind of just makes me clear-headed and reminds me on why I'm doing what I'm doing.
When the Canadian anthem is played, you think of
Yeah.
mom sleeping in the car,
Yes.
putting
Yeah.
up. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, now here it'll just be the American anthem, so it's the
Okay.
same. Yeah, just a time to reflect.
Sometimes you get the Canadian anthem, but even the American anthem, that's fantastic. And so just to confirm, she would come back from work at 6, get you ready to get there. An amazing sacrifice. We talked to a lot of players, and they have stories like this, and that's why we like to share them, because I think we're all indebted to mom and dad, me included, what they have done.
Of course.
So with all that work and the love behind you, you started to get in. Things started to fall into place for you. And you mentioned you went to New York. You went to Syracuse University, which has produced a lot of good players. And when you were there, we looked at your stats off the charts. How did that college experience help you refine your game?
Yeah, I think it helped me adapt physically. That was probably the biggest thing. Our weight trainer there was a football guy, so we were doing all the heavy lifts. And now that I look back on it, we were doing some crazy fitness stuff every day. So I would say it helps me a lot physically. And I would say it helped a lot with my confidence on the other side, because growing up, I wouldn't say I was like one of the best players in my age groups. I would say I was good, and I always worked super hard, and I always wanted to get better. Those were like my advantages compared to everyone else, because everyone, as you get older, you get a girlfriend, or you start to go out, or you get your driver's license, and now you're free. I think my real advantage was I was so focused on becoming a pro footballer that I did whatever I had to do. So I would say at the college level, I really gained confidence because I was playing in one of the biggest schools in the biggest conference, and I was doing really well. So that really helped my confidence to help me realize that, okay, look, if you've done really well so far, and if you keep at it, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, which is Generation Adidas contract.
Look, Syracuse, I mean, it's like one after the other of top pros in MLS and overseas. So that's obviously a great place to be. So
right
at the other end of it, you come out, you're the 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty overwhelming. 4th pick is, and you get to go to Canada. You get back to go to Canada. So what was that like? You get to say, I mean, obviously it's the other side of Canada, but you get to go to the Whitecaps.
Yeah, no, I was excited, but I was surprised. I interviewed with what felt like every team except the Whitecaps, and I was honestly, I don't know if I've ever said it publicly, but I was it was pretty much a lock that I was going to go to the Columbus Crew at 7, I believe. So Columbus was really high on me, and they were saying, if you're there at 7, we got you. And I spoke to the other teams except Vancouver, and we had it seemed like a lock, honestly, that I was going to go to Columbus. And so the night before the draft, I remember I couldn't sleep. So like midnight, the Whitecaps started following me. And I was like, oh,
social media, you saw Whitecaps are following you.
Yeah. On Instagram. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to the Whitecaps, but you never know. But yeah, obviously I ended up there for 5 years.
Incredible career, almost 150 games or maybe even past that. But
yeah.
And I remember watching you as the Whitecaps. I always liked your players. Sometimes you had the socks down and you would play a lot of positions, creative player. So how many positions do you think you could play? I mean, we list you as a midfielder here. We've seen you as a winger, but how many positions do you think you can trot out there?
I mean, here so far, I've played a lot here so far, just in my month here. But I would say any position on the outside, whether that's a fullback, wing back. I would say wing back is my favorite position because I have the endurance and I have the legs to get up and down and help the team defensively, but then also help create chances and score goals on the other end. So I would say wing back is what I prefer. But in college, I played winger, but we played man-to-man defensively. So most times teams would pin us back, and I would be almost like a fullback, wing back. Here in LA, I've gotten some reps in the middle at 8, left back, right wing, kind of everywhere. So I feel like I have a good understanding of the game. So I feel kind of comfortable wherever. And at the end of the day, like on the weekend, wherever the team needs me, at any time the team needs me, I'll do my job to the best of my abilities.
The Swiss Army knife, which makes you very valuable around these parts because we know how Steve Trundle likes to use those players. Yes. You mentioned earlier, man, what's going up in Canada, dude? You got not only in soccer, which we'll talk about, but you got the NBA MVP is Canadian. You have Jamal Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's like, it's not just hockey. And then in the soccer sphere, they hadn't made a World Cup since 1986. They make it in 2022. They're starting to beat the U.S. all the time. We've got to chill out on that.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies, who was a Whitecaps. I know you guys didn't cross paths, but coming out of that. What do you think is behind that? What are we not seeing in the United States where Canada's producing not only good soccer players, basketball players, athletes in so many different sports?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a talent hotspot. Honestly, I grew up playing with a lot of guys that are better than me that just didn't have the right structure around them to make it. So now that I think that the men's national team is doing a great job and has been doing for the last couple of years, I think that structure and that pathway will start to become more clear for the kids growing up. And the kids growing up will be able to see the guys playing in the World Cup. So I think in the next, 10 years, you'll really see, in my opinion, Canada become hopefully a powerhouse in the whole entire world because the athletes that we have, it's incredible. And it's like you mentioned, the hockey players. Shay's actually from the city I'm from, Hamilton.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and his girlfriend, his best friends with my girlfriend. So yeah, it's crazy, small world.
Well, you know what you're gonna have to do now.
Yeah. So
what do you have to do? What's your homework now?
Watch the finals.
No. You got to get him to the game. You got to get
Oh
him.
yeah. No, I mean he's busy. We also have the same trainer, so I know how much work he puts in. So
Wow.
he deserves it all.
It's gotta to be the best NBA player, and you're Canadian. I can't even imagine where to start with the work. Well, I'm freaked out now because I'm afraid you're going to pass us in the soccer sphere, which is the last thing us the United States needed. But hey,
yeah, I think we've beaten you guys the last couple times, and I think we're there. I think we're there, honestly.
Already.
I think we're it's
all right.
We'll see in the Gold Cup.
Interview's over. I'm just kidding. Ryan, this has been fantastic, and just moving in towards what's happening now. By the way, how we mentioned the Canadian connection.
Yes.
Daniil Henry was here. Obviously, Maxime Crépeau, who was with you with the Whitecaps. Mark Dos Santos, Thomas Hassel.
Yeah.
How with the folks that are here and the folks that have been there, how have they helped this transition coming to Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean that's how this opportunity kind of came about. Just speaking to Mark a bit in the off season and him keeping up with what I was doing and where I was at. And yeah, speaking to Thomas, asking him about, the club and like I've been in the league 5 years. So I had a pretty good idea of what LAFC was about. And like I told you the last time we spoke, it's like the club's mentality really resonated with my own, and that's to win and win at all costs. And, going to every competition expecting to win, so that's what immediately drew me to be interested in coming here. And like you said, there's been a bunch of Canadians here in the past.
And I loved your outlook when you came here because you knew there's a lot of ballers here and there's a lot of established players to get some playing time. So you're sitting here. Final question: you're sitting there waiting for your opportunity, and then in extra time of arguably the biggest game in the club's history, taps you on the shoulder, says you're going in to close this out at the Club World Cup Qualifier America. Tell us about that moment that night and how you found this out.
Yeah, like to be honest, if you asked me before the game, I mean, maybe I wouldn't have said it, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to play, but I was ready to play, if that makes sense. I think that's been my mentality, and I'm quite proud of that for myself because, like from what I've seen from the outside, looking into the club, obviously Steve has his core group of guys, which he trusts. And it takes time. I know it takes time to kind of build that trust from the coach. So yeah, even for him to put me in for a couple minutes shows that, in some sense he already has that level of trust for me. He has the level of trust in my experience. And like I said, I was ready for the moment. If it was 30 seconds, if it was 10 seconds, if I had to do 5 sprints in a minute to help the team advance, then that's what has to be done. And that's kind of my mentality, is just keep chipping away, keep working hard, and just be ready for every opportunity and every moment, because at some point your name will be called and you're expected to perform when it does.
More to come for you, Ryan. You are a beaut, my friend. That was fantastic, and just a good lesson for people who have a new opportunity in a new country about how to approach that.
Yes.
We'll see you out there. Hey, appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk soon. And best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Ryan Raposo, jack of all trades, LAFC midfielder, joining us here on Black and Gold Insider. That's all the time we have for this week, but we'll be back again next week. Until then, this is Max Bretos saying, let's go Black and Gold.